Dharma Circle, Saraswati, the embodied Dharma coach, here with your December sidereal transit update. There is a lot happening as we close the year. This 2020, what year is it? 2025 is coming to a close, and the transits are doing some interesting things this month. So let's dive in, take a look, and prepare body and mind and emotions for what's ahead. It's always a time of grief and digestion this time of year. Nature's supporting this. And this month increases that need for digesting and doing our grief work. We have multiple Sandhi planets, so planets that are in the gap between signs. Jupiter and Saturn will be Sandhi most of the month. Not quite at 0 degrees, but we are going to see them still in their vulnerability. Very spiritual time, but not very materially focused. So, of course, this time of year, everyone's checking out anyway, but it's important to understand how to show up for your body and your path and your purpose right now, because these themes are delicate, and we'll go into a little bit more of that as we go forward. So Mercury's now direct back in Libra, and then we'll return to Scorpio on the 6th of the month. Jupiter is returning to Gemini on the 6th as well. So he's been at 0 degrees for a number of weeks now, and you're probably feeling this. This is particularly challenging for teachers, anyone that's really ruled by Jupiter, or any of us who are committed to our Dharmic path, because Jupiter is the Karaka, the indicator of Dharma. So Jupiter is really causing challenges for teachers, guides, coaches. This includes the healers and the shaman types and anyone who shares knowledge and wisdom ultimately. And you might feel like you're in limbo right now. Nothing feels very grounded. Things might be kind of falling apart around you. It's certainly a time for rest and pause and integration and sort of regrouping. What feels important to me? What feels essential as I move forward on my path? So Jupiter's really asking us to clarify our needs, our requests, and our desires for our Dharmic path. Mars is moving to Sagittarius on the 7th. Sun will move to Sagittarius on the 16th. This is important, and these transits are very important, actually. Right now, we have a Sun-Mars conjunction in Scorpio, and this combination, this very hot conjunction, is going to be moving through the signs until April. And this is something that everyone should be aware of. And this month particularly, and into January, as Mars shifts into Sagittarius and then Sun joins Mars into Sagittarius, this combustion, this very hot combination will continue, and they go through Mula Nakshatra. So I'm concerned about the combustion ahead, what's happening now through April. This hot, fiery mix of Mars and Sun, it can be dangerous. It's certainly heated, fiery. It can be aggressive. And of course, it can bring fire, explosions, things like that. I'm concerned on the collective level about war and violence. On the personal level, Sun and Mars, these are the planets that affect the bone marrow, muscle tissue, blood. And so these are areas of the body that can be very heated over the next 3-4 months. This is a time to pacify Pitta, to support our sacred rage, to move our grief and our anger in very constructive, healing ways, but to recognize that the body will be very hot. And through December, with Mars moving into Sagittarius, then Sun going into Sagittarius, this is, bringing up Mula energy. So they'll be marching through Mula Nakshatra. This is a Gandanta. It has to do with uprooting the psycho-emotional body knots, and it's particularly challenging for Dharma. So Mula Nakshatra is the first nakshatra of Sagittarius. It's one of 3 Gandantas that are notorious for causing challenges. They are also very spiritual. Mula Nakshatra is ruled by Nriti, the dark goddess, who brings chaos, calamity, misfortune. She brings sabotage on the Dharmic path. She keeps us in disconnection, adharma, rather than connection, dharma. And so this is really a challenging time ahead for one's dharma, and it sort of intensifies what's going on with Jupiter, Jupiter being the ruling planet of Sagittarius. There'll be a lot of questioning of your dharmic path. Watch out for self-sabotage. Watch out for falling off the path. Watch for moving away from your dharma rather than moving closer to dharma. Okay, this is really important, and especially at this time of year, people tend to check out and disconnect, and just be sure you're not checking out and disconnecting from body. It's always back to body, back to body, back to body. Body is what supports our wholeness and, of course, our dharmic path and our dharmic clarity. So there are some challenges with the Mula Nakshatra dynamic and what's happening with Sun and Mars, the heat and the fire. I think of this as a time of purification. Sun is always the great purifier, and so as he intensifies the heat of Mars, there will be a purification of anger, and of course this includes our grief, because what's underneath the anger is usually sadness and deep grieving. So this is a good time to be doing our grief work. The Mula Nakshatra effect will help pull up any unconscious grief, any unconscious emotions, parts of ourself, our body, our subconscious and unconscious terrain that maybe we've been neglecting or avoiding or bypassing. And so this is a very good time to be doing our inner work. And of course, 'tis the season for this inner work and this grief work. This is what happens in the depth of winter. Venus will also move to Sagittarius on the 20th, joining this very hot combination. Sun, Mars, and Venus are all conjunct right now in Scorpio, and this is bringing up a lot of relationship issues. But that relationship intensity continues through the coming month into January as Venus joins this very heated combination in Sagittarius. And there will be a lot of relationships ending, closing, uprooting through relationships. You know, it's a time of deep weeding out what doesn't work. So just being mindful of what your body needs, what the grief and the anger is actually telling you. Anger is so wise, and it's such a clear boundary. So listen carefully. Of course, we have the solstice on the 21st, and for the Northern Hemisphere, this is the shortest day of the year, the darkest time of the year, and slowly we will start to regain some light after this. And boy, I'm always ready for more light and more sun. This is a very hard time of year for me, the darkness and the lack of sunlight, especially up here in the mountains. So I'm grateful for the sun coming back eventually, slowly. Mercury will move into Sagittarius on the 28th, joining this Mars, Venus, and Sun combination. And then we have 4 planets in a very heated combustion. So through January, you will continue to see this heat in mind and body and in relationships. And it should prove to be very refining and purifying and clarifying. What do you need? What are your boundaries? What is your body saying? And what is my yes? What is my no? This becomes very important over the coming months. So we've just passed the full moon. It was actually yesterday. Moon is still very full today. We had a full moon in Taurus, Rohini Nakshatra, December 4th at 1613 Mountain Time. So yesterday afternoon. And the moon is still very full and bright. This is a very powerful full moon. Rohini is very creative, supports manifestation and expression through creativity. Loves manifestation. Rohini can really help us with manifesting our desires and bring our desires from just desire and consciousness into form. And that happens in this portion of the sky through Lord Brahma and Goddess Saraswati. So that creative, dynamic duo is what supports this expansion of creativity. And you can look for this in the coming cycle. So even as the moon begins to wane, this powerful creative energy is still very alive and awake and supporting us. And I think this is what's driving a lot of people right now with their frustration and their anger and the grief, is feeling what's missing and what's not working. And that can be very clarifying as well. And that can also support your manifestation. So just being mindful of what is my yes, what is my no, what do I need? Where are my needs being met? Where are my needs not being met? What needs to shift? What needs to change? This Rohini full moon is bringing a lot of that desire to the surface so that we can tend it and start creating. And then the new moon in Sagittarius and Mula Nakshatra is on the 19th at 1844 Mountain Time. And here we go with our Mula Nakshatra theme. Once again, the dark goddess Nriti is bringing the Adharma to the surface so that we can really assess. We can look at what's not working. Where am I disconnected? Where am I off path? Where am I moving in a direction that's not supporting my wholeness, not supporting my Dharmic path? And so at the time of the new moon and into this January cycle that I've just been talking about, we're going to be uprooting. And there's some deep, dark uprooting coming with the December new moon. Mula is notorious for bringing adharma, and this can look like chaos and calamity and misfortune and being stuck and disconnected. The Mula Nakshatra is very much, and this is how you know Nriti is working her ways on you. You'll feel self-doubt. You'll feel like you're not good enough, that your gifts and wisdom don't matter. You'll feel disconnected quite literally from your gifts and your wisdom. You won't trust your gifts and wisdom. And this is adharma. This is Nriti doing her thing. This is what she does. Your job is back to body, back to body, back to body, and listening to your body wisdom and coming back to your own inner wisdom, your own truth. This is the reconnection. Mula Nakshatra and Nriti can cause disconnection, and she keeps us from that powerful self-trust, that inner knowing. What is my path? That one-pointed focus. And so we have to be very diligent, very careful, very skillful in our work, because we can stay there for years, if not lifetimes. And so if you have Mula Nakshatra in your chart, and really for all of us who are walking through the multiple planets going through Mula Nakshatra this month and next month and this new moon, this is a time of remembering, staying close to the body and back to Dharma, back to body, back to wholeness, so that you don't get lost on the path. There is a risk this month of getting off path and getting lost. And so we want to be very careful that that is not what happens, that you don't have to spend the next year course correcting after this uprooting cycle. So lots of changes this month. In fact, it's quite powerful. And although it's a time of rest and pause, digestion and integration, at the same time, we need to be very mindful that our actions, our choices, and our behavior are moving us closer to body and Dharma and not further away. Disconnection and doubt and fear and all of the things that come with adharmic behaviors, choices, and even thoughts. So stay close to the body and support your wholeness in body and life, and come back to your gifts, your wisdom, your brilliance. Often we need to pause and slow down in order to do that. And of course, do your grief work. This is part of the Mula reminder. All the heaviness, all of the grief, all of the undigested emotions that are in the way of your clarity. This is an emotional cleansing cycle, if you will. So, honoring your gifts, your wisdom, your grief, and all parts of yourself, your wholeness. This is a powerful time to honor your wholeness. And that is Dharma. Dharma is your wholeness. If you're needing more personalized steps, more personalized guidance for the cycles ahead, and for clarifying your Dharmic path, your offering, your gifts, comment Dharma below in the comments, and I'll follow up with you, and we can talk about next steps for you, your Dharmic path, and sharing your gifts and wisdom in this new year, 2026, and how to step into your power more fully and stay connected to your powerful Dharmic gifts and wisdom. Comment Dharma below. I'll follow up with you. We can talk about personalized approach to clarifying your Dharma and your offerings in the new year. Many blessings to you, to your ancestors, and wishing you a season and a cycle of wholeness and reconnection. Bye.